Hello, fabulous Aries. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of November 2014, general focus. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Well, last month and in last month's horoscope, I focused largely on the fact that you had an eclipse taking place in your sign. Now that is huge. I'm just going to emphasize that again. If you are one of those rare people of your sign who has yet to experience the benefit, the change, the fresh beginnings, the new understandings, the letting go of the past so that you can fully step into who you now have become. If you are one of those Aries who's still waiting for that, then this month should provide you with just the right mix of inspiration and change that you need. And there are a few reasons for that. One is sometimes it does take an eclipse a full month, a full 30 days after it happens to reach you. And so you do want to pay special attention to what is taking place in the first half of this month. However, there are some other things taking place in the first half of this month that also are going to be noteworthy in several respects. Because of the eclipse that was taking place last month, it kind of overshadowed the fact that we actually had two eclipses taking place. The second of which happened in a part of the sky for you that had to do with finances. It had to do with money, but it had to do with what astrologers call other people's money, meaning it had to do with money that comes from grants, loans, bursaries, insurance payouts, benefits. So it really is about dealing with financial institutions. It is about acknowledging and appreciating how resourceful you are and how well provided for you are by a very kind universe. And so that's energy you're actually carrying into this month. The energy in the first part of the month is still financial in some respects, in some very important respects, but it changes a little bit. In the early part of the month, there is a full moon that takes place in the part of the sky that has to do with earning money. It has to do with what it is that you do to actually provide for yourself and the people to whom you are responsible for. And so it has to do with earned income. It also has to do with the worth that you give to what it is that you are giving to the universe. So what is the value you place on what you're giving? And how is that energy behind what you give being returned to you in the form of prosperity? These are going to be the key things highlighted in the first part of the month. And so on just a very literal level, this month would suggest practical financial progress. I say this for a few reasons. The main reason I say that is because this particular full moon is speaking kindly with Mars and with Pluto as well. So on the way to becoming full, on the way to achieving perfection and becoming a full moon, this particular full moon will speak kindly with Mars and Pluto on the way there. And within days after that, Pluto and Mars will actually meet in the sky. Now, this is very special. Pluto and Mars meet in the sky once every 2 years. So when this happens, it is an important event to take place and does mark an important turning point for all of us in at least one area of life. So you've got this full moon taking place in a part of the sky that has to do with money you earn. And then we have Mars and Pluto meeting in the part of the sky. So this full moon is communicating with Mars and Pluto, and then they meet, magnifying their energies, joining their energies in a part of the sky that has to do with career. It has to do with achievement. It has to do with life purpose, understanding your direction, understanding what is the highest that you desire to go and what you're actually aiming for in this life. And it has to do with the achievement of goals as well. Well, you put this together just like it sounds. It does suggest a time of financial progress that allows you to get clear on just what direction it is that you're going in, what direction it is that you're traveling in. Now, it does look like for some Aries out there, I'm going to be honest, because this meeting of Mars, which is also your ruling planet, but because this meeting of Mars and Pluto, which are two planets that also are indicators of what is happening in other people's money. So that theme that began last month actually continues into this month. These two planets are symbolic of, as I said, other people's money. And you've got your ruling planet involved in this as well. So it's speaking right to the heart of you. Normally, when these two planets meet, it suggests change. I mean, this has change written all over it. Change that comes from deep self-honesty, change that comes with a no-holds-barred look at what must transform, and understanding what has to transform to the very core if you are going to experience the kind of change that truly matters to you. We've got these planets meeting in a part of the sky that really is considered the pinnacle, the highest point in the sky for you. Moments, really, from a celestial standpoint. Now, in literal terms, it's days after, but really moments after. We have this full moon taking place. It's a few days after these two planets reach perfection after already being activated by the full moon. And it does suggest that there are going to be changes on the career front. There are going to be changes on how you understand your direction. And it is going to speak to your financial situation, your financial condition. Now, keep in mind that this particular full moon is speaking in supreme harmony with Mars and Pluto. So it seems very natural. It also seems, because it's a full moon, full moons are a long time coming. Full moons are what you finally acknowledge, you finally accept. It's the truth that's been building for a while, that's been staring you in the face. Sometimes very dramatically you admit it. Sometimes it happens very naturally, very easily. And I think that's going to be the case here. Now, that doesn't mean that this particular full moon is without any sense of sadness, in all honesty, because it is Venus, the ruling planet of this full moon, standing across the sky. So I put all this together, and it does suggest to me a measure of melancholy, a measure of nostalgia, a measure of perhaps sadness even as well, and yet an understanding that you're ready for the change that is about to visit you. For some people, this is going to be quite important and quite dramatic, especially those of you born right around the middle of your sign. This is going to suggest a time when you really understand what is no longer a part of your career path and what direction you finally are ready to move towards. For others of you, this is going to be a breakthrough, and one that really feels very right in your core. Now, regardless if there's a sense of sadness with what has to end now, because Pluto and Mars together do suggest release, suggest endings, and an element here of purging, of letting go what you no longer need. And yet, at the same time, because we've got this full moon so actively placed, it does suggest that you are rolling with it and you know that it's time. Something within you may have held on to a dream or a vision or a thought of what you wanted to achieve that maybe isn't really yours anymore. Maybe it has served its purpose, perhaps karmically served its purpose, but you've been adamant that this is the road that you are supposed to travel. Well, this is your moment to get really honest with yourself. Is this really the road that you're meant to travel or not? If it is, then you will find achievement comes with a certain flow and a certain ease along with financial benefit. If it isn't, then you are going to admit that to yourself as part of moving in a direction of genuine self-worth, of genuine self-love, and in a direction that will lead to tangible prosperity as well. Regardless of how this lesson does show up for you, one thing is for sure, though, there are going to be positive financial changes, and very likely will be part of positive career developments that take place for you now as well. Be mindful and be clear and understand that this is achievement that you truly are ready for. And this is achievement that now resonates with who you are today. And this is also achievement that comes with a great deal more abundance than you knew before.